Circuit Court for the County of Kent is now in session. Honorable J. Joseph Rossi presiding. We are here in the cases of Sarah Malecki versus Brittany Mullins and Seth Brown versus Brittany Mullins. Case numbers 25-06402PH, 25-06349PH. This hearing is being recorded on Zoom and live streamed on YouTube.
And both of these cases come before the court today on the respondent, Brittany Mullins' motion to terminate PPOs I granted protecting Ms. Malecki and Mr. Brown. As an initial matter, I will say the burden of proof, given the objection was filed on time, is with the petitioners. What I'm going to do is swear in petitioners and have them state the basis for the PPOs here on the record, and then I'll swear in Ms. Mullins and she can respond to that, and then I can make my ruling. So without any further ado, I'll start with, let's see, the first one here appears to be Ms. Malecki. So Ms. Malecki, if you would unmute, I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. And Ms. Malecki, I'm getting a reverberation. Do you have two? Sometimes that happens if you have like a phone open and computer audio. Do you know why I might be getting that?
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, it could be because both of you have
each other. That probably doesn't help.
Oh, that's much better. Okay, I can hear you more clearly now. All right. Well, Ms. Malecki, originally here I granted this PPO back in July, and it looks like the basis was your claim that Ms. Mullins trespassed in your backyard twice in one night, shining flashlights into your windows and scaring your children. Why don't you talk about that?
So for a while, some reason they kept going on the golf course and like flashing flashlights, and they're claiming that they're seeing coyotes and they're looking for coyotes. But last I knew, coyotes aren't in my house. So why are you flashlighting inside my house? And my daughters don't really appreciate that because my bathroom's right there in the backside. And that's not cool at all. And then they started doing it in the front yard.
Can I just pause you, Ms. Malecki? Where did you say they were claiming to have seen the coyotes? Was it in your yard or?
In my yard or in my house or in my tree? Because they were shining all up in like the backside of my house, inside my windows. And then like, well, we're looking for coyotes. I'm like, well, last I checked, they're not inside my house.
How many times did that happen that they were claiming they were looking for coyotes?
Yeah, they were claiming coyotes.
How many times?
Every single time was coyotes.
Okay, every night. How many nights about?
It was on a regular basis, 7 nights a week.
Okay. And how long did that go on for?
That went on for months. And then they resorted to the front and used the public roadway instead. And they would walk my property line, stop at my property line, and then flash the lights into my house while my 9-year-old is in my living room and it's 10:30 at night and she's like, what the heck is happening? And she just walked back to her house. But she would do this at least every single night for like a week straight.
Okay, and that was after you complained about them coming in trespassing in the backyard?
Yep. And then we ended up putting fences up in the backside just to keep them out.
Okay. Before the fences went up, would they actually come into your property?
Yes.
Okay. And you put fences up and then they stayed off the property, but they'd come to the property line in front after that?
Yes.
And again, the incidents with them shining in lights into the front of your house, how many times did that happen?
That happened at least 3 times a night.
3 times per night. So at different times each night?
It was like per night, like every out, like it was weird because it was random times, but it would be at nighttime where the flashlights would be supposedly needed. But across the street neighbor has a very bright light, and we do have one street light right there. So I don't really understand why. And they put massive lights on their house. So I don't know why they were using flashlights in the first place. They already have the sun in their yard.
Okay. And when you say flashlights, are these regular, like a handheld flashlight
Oh.
that you might?
They're like massive, like the LED, like massive lights where they're stupid bright.
Okay, with like an extra
Yeah.
lens that you can focus and stuff like that.
Yep. And there was like the one that you can change the size of like the ray of the light.
Mhm. Adjustable beam type thing. All right. And you said they, when you say they, who is they?
It was usually Brittany and her mother Alice. Alice started the reindeer games and then Brittany joined in.
Why did you get the PPO against Brittany, just out of curiosity?
I got it because my children were becoming scared of being at home. And if their dad is gone, how else am I supposed to protect them?
But why not against Alice, I guess, if she's involved too?
That was Seth. Seth actually got the PPO on Alice. Usually she would torment Seth when I'm not home. So I can't really exactly put a PPO on her because
I see.
she was targeting him for a while.
Okay, so Seth does have one against Alice, just not
Yeah.
you.
Just not me.
Got it. Okay. Okay, all right. I think those are all of my questions that I have for you. I will go to Miss Mullins, get a response.
Okay.
All right, Miss Mullins, if you please unmute. And if you'd raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. Ms. Mullins, in your response to Ms. Malecki's PPO request, you say, well, there was missing cat and there was an incident with phone flashlights looking for the cat on the fence line. That sounds a lot different than what Ms. Malecki's describing.
Um, yeah, and I didn't get her
The petition or
yeah,
the
so
PPO?
I didn't know what she said, so I assumed it was the same as Seth's. But
It was, this first part of it was mostly the same, at least.
right, but even so, the incidences that she's talking about with the flashlights, was my mom's dog got bit by a coyote and it was very severe. So we would shine the flashlights and it was not really me. And so I didn't live there at that time, around the
Okay,
time.
how long ago was that going on?
Um, I want to say like a year and a half ago.
Okay,
Like it was, oh, I can't remember when Tunes got bit, maybe in 2024 or end of 2023.
okay. And
But
that was when the
uh,
bite happened and the coyotes?
I'm not sure on the specifics. I don't really remember when it happened because that's Tunes, it's my mom's dog, not mine, my mom's house.
Do
So
you live there with your mom?
no, and I wasn't staying there then either. So
Back in July, were you staying there when the PPO was filed?
um well my mom babysits my children and I do stay there sometimes.
Okay, it's kind of in and out sometimes.
Yes.
Okay, and now this says here, it sounds like it wasn't you, at least on this,
Yeah, the other one,
the cat incident, it was your two sisters?
yes.
Okay.
I wasn't even involved in that situation at all.
Okay, so that's not what, but I mean, I have two really different situations here. So you said sometimes you did go out and look for coyotes after the dog
Where
bite
I would
incident?
let tunes out, but not shining in
You, you had your flashlights with you, but you weren't shining them in the house?
no, not at their house. Their windows, like it's their house and then their garage. So it's not even in the direction that we would shine them, which would be toward the golf course that's behind the house. And that was just for Toons' safety.
I mean, you're saying you were shining them out there to see if there are any coyotes that might come and endanger the dog?
Yes,
How
before we
many
let her
times
go.
did that happen?
I mean, let her just when we would take Toons out is when that would happen.
Toons is the dog?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, and would it just be who's taking Toons out when Toons goes out? You and your mom or who?
Um, my mom usually does it, but when she's not there, then I would like if I was there, then I would let her out if Toons gotta go out at
Yeah. What
you
time
know
at night about?
9 o'clock.
Okay. So it'd be dark.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And does Toons stay on a leash when he goes out, or does he just go out?
No, she's a little dog.
Okay, so he no leash, but he just goes out to go to the restroom.
Yes. And
Okay.
she's
Did you ever see a coyote when you're shining the lights?
yes, we have seen coyotes and we have talked to my mom talked to the coyote hunt what are they called? Um the guys that would bait the coyotes and stuff.
Coyote control people?
Yeah, I guess. Sorry.
Okay, well, I mean, does the park do anything about the coyotes?
Um, the park?
The park, is this a trailer park or is this
No,
a subdivision?
it's a subdivision.
Okay, all
No,
right.
they do not.
They don't do anything
No, no.
about it. They view them as a golf course problem, probably.
Yeah.
Do you know when the dog got bit? Was the dog at your house or
Yes.
did the dog wander to the golf course or
The
somewhere?
dog was in our yard. I
Okay,
heard her outside.
coyote bit him. And you didn't see the dog get bit. You just heard about it from your mom?
No, I was there. I was there in the bathroom, so I heard her outside yelping. And
Okay,
so I know it was close to our house. Like
yeah. And about when did the bite happen?
um late 10 o'clock, 10 p.m.
In what year about? Was it last year or?
22. 22.
Okay, so a little while ago.
Yeah. Like I said,
And your testimony today is you are shining them a distance because you're trying to see what's on the golf course.
right.
Thus, they're going to shine past the petitioner's house, possibly in the windows, although some windows would be blocked by the garage. But
Right.
even if they accidentally shine in the windows or part of the beam shines in the windows, your intention is to look out on the golf course for coyotes.
Right. Right.
Did you ever, any police reports or animal control, anything like that about the coyote bite?
No.
Okay. All right. What about then the allegations that after this fence went up, um, you began walking around the front of the house and shining the lights in the front windows?
Um, no. I've never done that after the fence was put up.
Okay, so you don't walk the dog or go out there on the street at night?
Recently I have been. The fence has been, I don't know when it was first put up.
Okay. Well, when you're walking the dog, are you bringing a flashlight with you?
Well, I would walk to get on DoorDash.
Oh,
No,
I
I
see.
would walk the dog.
Explain that to me. Okay, you're walking to get on DoorDash. You're trying to get in range of a Wi-Fi signal or
Zone to be able to get on time.
I
So
see.
a house or two past Seth's house is um and is in the zone.
Okay. So you walk down there and this is
Just
kind
to
of
get
a
in.
check-in. I don't never delivered DoorDash, so I don't know how it works, but you kind of check in to let them know you're in the zone and available to make a delivery.
Right.
Okay. So no dog with you when you're doing this. This is just you.
No. And right.
Do you need to, do you bring a flashlight with you when you do said walk?
Only to see where I'm going and for bugs because I have like I I use my phone, but I'm really scared of bugs. I don't like them. So
Okay, so you're using your phone light, not a regular flashlight?
exactly, yes.
Okay, so not as intense a beam or directed
Right.
beam as the
Just
flashlight.
right.
You just go down the sidewalk with this and you
Well,
don't
there
want to
isn't
step
a
on a bug.
sidewalk.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
There isn't a sidewalk, so I use my
Okay,
phone to see where I'm going and where
this is
I'm
the edge of the road then.
right.
And when you're on the edge of the road, is it on the road near the side of the road nearest to Sarah's and Seth's house?
No.
You're on the opposite side of the road?
Right.
Okay.
Or like a yeah, just walking across the street and then walking towards
And
the
then you walk and you're kind of facing traffic on that. So you're walking towards traffic on the your
no,
left side of the road.
no, no, I'm
Okay.
walking with traffic.
With traffic.
Yeah, I started doing that after Seth called the police the first time on me. And the police came out because he said that I was doing it that same night, but I hadn't even gone out that night.
Okay. Well, and what did you tell the police that?
Yes, and I have proof. I have video proof, but the police said it didn't matter that I had not gone out or did that night.
Yeah, I mean, the police didn't arrest or take any law enforcement action, anything like that. They just took a report.
Right.
Okay. All right. And your understanding was the allegation that night was not that you were walking out at night with a light on, but that you were shining a light in their window.
Right, that's what they said, and the police said that it could have been anyone. So if it wasn't you, then it still could have been someone else.
Well, I'm getting the idea this is kind of a dark. It's not like you're walking on Ionia on Friday night in downtown Grand Rapids with crowds of people. There are only a few people or no people besides you out there, I
Right.
think. So, I mean, the idea could have been anyone. I mean, there aren't that many people that walk up and down the street, or am I wrong on that?
Right, exactly. But I did not go out that night.
Okay, that
And
was
I
not
wouldn't
you that
shine it
night.
at their house. No, I would shine it where I'm going, or if I get freaked out by a bug, I might
Jerk around
I-
and point in a different direction, and this is
yeah,
just your cell
right,
phone light.
right. And I let the police know that too, and I'm sure they let Seth know that. So it was never intentionally pointed toward his house to look inside his windows or to go inside his house. Like I'm not worried about that. I don't, that's not what's on my mind.
That's good.
So
That's a good thing.
I try
Right.
and avoid them altogether because of the issues we've been having for the last 3 years.
I see. And what other issues have you had besides the ones you just described?
Well, none of them actually really has anything to do with me. I'm not, they're with my family.
Yeah.
Like in the PPO order, most of it is for my family, not even with me. So I don't understand why they
And
got
there you're saying like there's trespassing and the dog pooped in my yard kind of stuff and those
yeah,
things.
there's petty little things that don't really have anything to do with me.
Okay. Now, if I enforce this against you, um, the limitations it puts on you, let me take a look here and how I did this thing.
Well,
Right, I didn't put the appearing within sight. I crossed that out because you're so close to each other.
oh,
But you can't follow them. You can't appear at their residence, and you can't contact or threaten to kill or injure them. You can't purchase or possess a firearm. Is that an issue for you?
um,
Did
no,
you hold
none
it?
of it is, but he had called the police after it had been filed and because he had seen me. He intentionally walked outside when he saw me drive by because my son was sleeping. And then when I went to this cul-de-sac and I came back, my son was still sleeping and I seen Seth on the phone and he walked inside as soon as he seen me. And I only seen that because their friends had been harassing me for 3 days to sign something. So
Okay,
that's
what's that about their friends?
probably the petition or whatever serving
Oh,
me. I don't
maybe they
know.
were serving you.
Right.
I
So
see.
that's how I like that's why like I remember so vividly that he intentionally walked outside when he saw to see me. And then he called the cops and the cops came and my children were in the car, but they were going to take me to jail because he had seen me and it was against the PPO.
I see, because you'd already been served with the PPO at that point, and right,
No,
well,
they served me then.
at that moment, I see.
Right.
Yeah, right. But if the PPO had been in place, although I did delete the appearing within my sight, you're not following him. I guess arguably, if you're driving past his house, you could be appearing at his residence. Although I usually, there has to be more than just driving past. Generally, it's something along the lines of pulling into their driveway or stopping in front of their house
Right.
and
I have never done
something
that.
like that. Okay. All right. Anything else you need to tell me about? And what about the claims? I haven't heard from Seth Mullins yet. I intend to this afternoon. I'm going to swear him in and see what he can add to it. Is there anything different about that you're aware of? You said you assumed his claims, and as I read the claims, at least regarding the lights, which were the number one concern for me, um,
We
mm,
don't even use the flashlights anymore. Really. We haven't used the flashlights all year. So I don't
haven't done the
understand.
coyote watch this summer
No,
because of the stress.
It's not coyote season, really.
it's not really
Mhm.
coyote season, but the flashlight broke, really, honestly.
Okay,
So,
well, yeah, that's another reason, but
but
there
we
are other
don't,
flashlights out there. I don't want the problem resurfacing. What about using your phone when you're walking to the DoorDash boundary?
um,
You still do that?
no, I haven't been able to go back to the house because of the PPO order.
Hmm. Okay,
That's what the
well,
cops told me.
seems like a very broad interpretation of the PPO. You mean go back to your mom's house
Yes.
because it would take you past Seth and
Um,
Sarah's house?
no, because it's next door. The cops told me that it would be best
Hmm.
if I didn't come back.
Well, that is true. That's the safest way to assure not landing in jail for
Right.
violating the PPO. However, the PPO doesn't say you, of course, can't go to your mom's house. It just precludes you from having any interaction with Seth and Sarah. So, okay. All right. Anything else you need to tell me, Ms. Mullins?
No, I crossed it off. Um,
So it's like,
oh no.
Okay. Well, let me swear in Mr. Brown here from him. Mr. Brown, if you would please unmute and raise your right hand.
So that was crossed off.
Yeah, it was crossed off.
So this is bullshit,
And you have to unmute Mr. Brown so I can hear you.
like we thought. No,
Oh,
You had to push that little red microphone button on there somewhere.
there we go.
Perfect. If you'd raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. All right. And I have yours, Ms. Malecki. And what's the relationship between you and Ms. Malecki?
Miss Malecki is my fiance. We have two children together.
Okay.
We've been together 15 or 16 years now.
So the two of you have lived at this residence for a while?
Um, the backstory on the residence, this is my mother's house. She passed away when I was 18. I rented the house out until I felt appropriate to bring my family here and try and live in a good neighborhood and raise my kids around good people.
What year was that about that you moved in?
I believe we moved back here in 2019.
Okay. And how old are your kids about?
My oldest just turned 14. My youngest just turned 9 back in June.
Okay. All right. And do you agree with what Sarah testified about regarding what the lights in the back windows and front windows were like?
I do. It's been such a long ongoing issue that never really got resolved. That there may be a little discrepancy, but yeah, for a few summers, nearly every night, 2, 3 times a night, anywhere from 9 p.m. till 4 a.m. They'd be out in the golf course and they'd walk out into the golf course. And then when they were walking back, they'd shine their lights at everybody's houses, which just seemed weird because maybe there is coyotes. I've never seen one here, but I mean, and it's a 40-acre golf course. There could be coyotes hiding back there, but they're definitely not in our windows or on our roof or, you know, I
Which
would
golf
take care
course
of
is
that
it?
before. I'm
Which
sorry.
golf course?
Ironwood Golf Course.
Ironwood, okay. And the housing development kind of borders the golf course, I take it?
Yeah, some houses have fences at the property line to the golf course. Most of them do not. I only put a fence up because her brother had come in my yard and started a fire in my fire pit at midnight one night a few years ago.
And you say
And
her brother, Miss Mullins' brother?
yes,
Okay.
Preston. I had a
All right.
PPO on him as well, but
Okay. Not an issue today, but it's safe to say there's been conflict between you and that family for years.
yeah, they built a fire pit next to my shed. I had to have the fire department come out 3 different times to tell them to move it because it was in an unsafe location, and they just kept moving it and rebuilding it closer to my shed. So it's
Okay.
been pretty, I mean, it's been pretty wild. I have never met people that behave like this, and it's scary to me personally. And that's kind of why I'm here with the PPOs, because I just want to be left alone on my property. I've begged them to do that, and they continue to send person after person to continue harassing us, and I don't know what to do.
So your perception is this goes beyond anything between you and any one of the people. Brittany Mullins, for example, it's like I'm going to describe as a family feud, the Hatfields and the McCoys, where because of the fire pit and some long-standing issues, it sounds like maybe there were some dog conflicts about dogs pooping and where they do that. That it created bad blood. And this is just an extension of that.
That would be a fair summation, I suppose. Alice has been the one that started it all, and I know that has nothing to do with this, so I won't elaborate on that. I'm sure we'll probably
And
speak.
Alex's brother?
Alice is her mother.
Alice is the mom. Okay.
I may have not enunciated that very well.
Nope, that's okay. All right. So when I heard from Miss Brittany Mullins, she testified that after you built the fence to, did that solve the problem of the flashlights in the backyard?
No, more problems just arose. They moved their trampoline right next to the fence, and they'd give their kids balls to play with on the trampoline, which I can't remember the name of the American Association of Pediatrics, I believe, recommends highly against letting kids use balls on trampolines just for the safety of children. Um, but they put their trampoline right next to my fence and give the kids a bunch of balls to play with, and then a bunch of the balls will end up in my yard. And either the kids or the adults would come over and get the balls and say, well, we're just getting the balls. But the problem I have is that all occurred after I had said, stay off my property for any reason. I've been threatened by multiple people from that house. I don't want anybody from there coming on my property and causing problems anymore after that.
Okay.
And it's just little things like that that keep going on. And I had recommended Brittany one day had come outside and asked me to throw a ball back. And I had suggested to her maybe they move the trampoline a few feet away from the fence so the balls stop coming into my yard. And I got met with, you can't effing tell people what to do with stuff on their property, Seth. And I just let it be because I wasn't going to entertain the argument.
Right.
And
Right.
she's
And
right, I
you're
can't, but
protecting your property, right? Yeah.
I was
True.
trying to be proactive to the situation and offer a suggestion that might stop the problem for both of us. And I got met with aggression and hostility for doing so.
All right. Well, let me return. The main reason I granted this were the flashlight incident,
Yes.
flashlight incidents, because I could certainly see the issue. And your testimony is that was Brittany and her sister. Now, when you say they came into your yard, you mean they were walking in your yard?
Okay, so I'm guessing we're talking about the time that she said the cat's collar was on the fence or something.
No, I'm asking you, this is your statement in your PPO says, 8 months
Okay.
ago, Brittany and her sister came into my yard. Now, 8 months before July makes it like November.
I may have undercut it. Maybe it had been 9 or 10 months because I think it
Okay.
was October-ish, give or take a month. I can't recall entirely.
And that's
Um,
what I'm going to call the
yeah,
flashlights incident.
okay. So for that one, what I had noticed was I was in my dining room and all of a sudden there was flashlights coming through the side yard. And then they were in our backyard and shining them at our house again, which could have been them turning to leave the yard and just accidentally flashing them in the house, I guess. I mean, now that we're so far away removed from it, I could see that maybe as a reason, but they still were told to stay off my property many times.
Sure.
So
But would
um,
they have had to be in your yard to shine the lights like that, or could they have shined them through
no.
your, they might have been off the property, but still shining the lights in there?
So my security camera that the police recommended I get because of the discrepancies that always seem to be with these issues between us. The security camera, my fence, there was a post on my property line lined up with the garage. So my camera could see if you came around that post, you were on my yard.
Mhm.
And they came around the post, it's on camera. And they came into the backyard. I think the back camera at the time too also picked them up back there shining lights. And they did it at 11:30 and then again at like 12:30 at night. And to me, my kids are sleeping, and I think one of them that night was up in the kitchen getting a drink, and they were freaked out because all of a sudden there's lights flying in, and it's like, what the heck? Like, who's in our yard? I put up fences. I said, stay out. Why don't they understand how to simply just be courteous as neighbors and say, look, we don't get along. I'm going to stay out of your yard. Like, yes, I don't go into their yard, and they've never asked me to stay out of it. So
Okay.
I just don't understand why we can't treat each other with the same respect, I guess.
Yeah. Well, now let me move. So this happened then maybe sometime last fall with the flashlights in the backyard. When did you put up your fence?
The fence, so I put up the fence it was about late August 2023. I had put the fence up because I was trying to map some stuff out on my property. I was thinking of building a pole barn and I was just lining up with my shed for, mapping purposes of my own. The fence was completely on my property, and the day I put it up, Brittany's mother came over, knocked at my front door, and cussed me out to no end. You need to take that effing thing down. It's effing illegal. You can't put that thing there. I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to do all these things. And I just kind of told her, have a nice day. It's a temporary fence. It's on my property. It's not even on your property. So you have no right to be upset. And I just let it be. A few days later, her mom ran the fence over with a lawnmower because she was upset about it. So that's kind of how a lot of this all started was I put a fence up on my property to try and do some work in my yard. And I got met with aggression and hostility from the beginning of it all. And the temporary fence has kind of stayed up since then to try and prevent them from coming in my yard, which I've had to upgrade the fence to metal, um, just because they let their animals run free, which, I mean, there are leash laws. You're not supposed to let your dog run into your neighbor's yard and take a dump and then, so I have had animal control out over that or called them. I can't remember if they came out or not, but so again, I'm rambling and I'm sorry. That's kind of off subject with,
Yeah, no, I'm kind of getting a sense for what happened throughout this whole situation. What about the scenario with your claim about the lights? Well, and actually, yeah, that was a few nights ago she was walking, and so this would be a few nights before you filed in July on my property line and home as she does multiple times per day, again shining her flashlight in our window, scaring our daughter. Uh, was that on the back of the house or the front of the house?
that was in the front. So that night, I hate to go into a ramble again, but this one is specific to the situation.
Yeah.
So that night, my family and I, we noticed there was nobody home next door, so we felt safe to go outside and have a little bonfire and cook some hot dogs and stuff and just have a nice family night in the yard since they weren't outside. We felt safe that no one's gonna start nonsense. And about 20 minutes after I started the fire, I hear at the backslider door to the neighbor's house, I hear, "Oh, they're outside. Go play. Be nice and loud, or be loud, or something." That's not paraphrased word for word, but you get the sense of, "Hey, they're outside. Go be noisy and bother them." So I heard that, and I waited a little while. I'm like, "Okay, the kids are out here just doing death wails at the top of their lungs, standing right next to the fence. Like, this is weird."
And when you say the
So
kids, whose kids are these? They're
I don't know. There's anywhere from 8 to 12 kids that seem to live next door, and I
who
don't
told
know
them to
how
go
that.
outside? Did you recognize the voice?
I did not, to be completely honest. It could have been her sister. It could have been Brittany. I know it wasn't her mother. That much I can say for sure.
Okay. All right. So
Um,
the kids are out wailing and yelling and but I mean they're staying on their own property. They're not necessarily
yep.
trespassing.
Yes, yes, correct, correct.
Okay.
So my fiance and I have been going to counseling, trying to figure out how to deal with situations kind of like this, and I go to counseling as well, trying to figure out ways to cope and deal with it.
Right.
Um, One thing I pulled my car into the backyard and I turned my music on because I'd rather hear my music than their kids screaming.
Sure.
And my counselor recommends listening to French music because it helps something in your mind kind of calm down. I'm not going into the science behind that, but
Guess those French
so
people are always calm. So
language of love, you know. So we turned the radio up and we just kept the volume right there with the kids. As loud as their kids were being, I'm going to keep the volume right there with it so I can hear my music over your kids. You send them out here to antagonize us. I can solve it by listening to music and we'll be okay. And it was 8 o'clock at night or something. So it wasn't midnight and I've got music blaring.
okay.
Um, that is the night when she walked past our house 3 or 4 times that night, and she never left her house either to go do a DoorDash or whatever she's claiming to go there to be in service of. So maybe it was something else that night she was going to do. I don't know. I'm not her. I'm not going to assume, but I noticed her walking back and forth repetitively, and she's the only one with long hair. Her sister, well, the sister that lives there has shorter hair, and her other sister has longer hair, I think, but she keeps it up most of the time in a really tight ponytail. So you can tell it's Brittany by the hair. And like I said, she walked past 3 or 4 times, and after a while, our youngest went in the house, and she was in the living room. And that was when she had came back out to the fire, and she goes, "Someone's walking by the house shining flashlights in it, and I don't know what to do." And I'm like, "What?" So I went in and shut doors, locked them, and everything I could just in case, because I've been threatened by a few people from next door, like they're gonna kick my ass and they're gonna do really bad things to me. Pardon my language, but so I am terrified of the behavior, and I don't know what's gonna come next. You know,
Well, let me pause you. When you went inside, Mr. Brown, did you see the lights coming in the window that your daughter
no,
talked about?
I did not. Our security camera on the front door, though, it did pick up all of the behavior of Brittany outside of her house, which I don't know how she can prove with video that she wasn't out there doing it when I've got her on video doing it. So it's
She
kind
kind of
of
says she walked out with, and she said she had her camera with the light on the camera to kind of watch where she was going, and because she doesn't like bugs. But I mean, to me, there's a big difference between having a light on a cell phone, which is kind of a bright but a very short range light, I guess, and a beam of a flashlight. Which one was it that you could see?
In the video, it was harder to tell, but she did have two lights. One did look brighter than the other, so my guess would be maybe she had her phone and a flashlight and was walking. Again, I've seen them outside with their giant spotlight in the front on, and then they've still got flashlights looking up against the house. Like, I don't understand the behavior.
They're looking up against your house in that instance.
Nope, nope. In this instance that I'd be referring to, like they've got their giant floodlight on the front of the house, and then they'd be in their front yard with their bright flashlight looking up against their own house where the light from their spotlight is illuminating it, and they'd be out there for 20 minutes looking for something. Like, I don't understand it, and
Yeah, you're right. That's not
it-
directed at you. That's just unexplainable behavior.
yeah, so it's between the unexplainable behaviors, the threats, the continuance of everything, and the way that, it started, Alice with the fence and stuff, and then Preston, I ended up getting PPO on because of threatening me.
And that's the one who's made physical threats is the brother, it's not Miss Brittany Mullins.
Correct, correct. Preston, the brother, made the physical threats a few years ago, and I believe it was you back then that granted me a PPO on him as well. He tried to defend it in court, saying he never threatened me, and his closing argument was, Your Honor, the first time I threatened Mr. Brown. So
I
I
do
think
so
he
many of
put
these,
his
I
mouth.
can't remember, but if you say it's true, but I may have said it. So yeah, so I mean, again, it illustrates the tension that exists. Does the brother live there full time?
No, after the PPO on him, he had moved out, and that's when Brittany had moved in with her 5 kids. Apparently, I thought she only had 3, so I don't know them all that well. I knew their dad before he had passed away. I knew him very well. He was a great guy. God rest his soul. I personally think he'd be spinning in his grave with the behavior his family's been displaying, though. And
Oh, I don't want to involve him since he's passed. So, what about the incident you said with her driving past and here her is Brittany flipping you off?
Okay, I was outside shooting some hoops in my driveway. Again, I've played basketball since I was 5. I mean, it's just a good stress relief. It keeps me active, and I was outside shooting hoops, and a car's driving by, and the way my basketball hoop is, I'm generally looking at the oncoming traffic coming down the road,
Sure.
and I noticed it was Brittany driving up, and I figured she was going to pull into her driveway because it's a dead end, and there's nothing down there really that they do, so there's no reason to go down there other than to drive past and harass me if you see me outside. So as she drives past, I notice her hand go up like this because I guess she had to let me know how she felt. I don't know what the reason was, but I laughed it off, but it still just feels like harassment that, in a normal, decent neighborhood, people wouldn't be doing to each other. They've gone outside, flipped my cameras off, and sat there talking to them. I mean, I don't get it. They put cameras up too. I don't really care. They can watch whatever I do. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, so
But
in your view, this provoking behavior is coming from them. You've had a role in it, but yours has been you've made a few suggestions, and those have been angrily rebuffed, like about the balls on the trampoline, and you're trying to uh, not engage from your perspective.
correct. That's why I've been attending counseling for the last 2 years now to try and just take any of my grievances there so I'm not bringing it to anyone else in the neighborhood or stressing my own family out with it. And it's 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 taken a big impact on my life just to have neighbors like this. And my bigger issue is I used to rent my house out. I know our houses are only zoned to have 5 occupants over the age of 1 years old based on square footage of bedrooms, and the township codes. And somehow there has been more than 10 people living in this rental house next to me ever since Alice had moved back in when John had passed away.
Have you
And
raised it with the township and the zoning people that would enforce that?
I have, the day before zoning people came to do their inspection, I noticed multiple beds leaving the house. And then after the inspection, the beds came back in the house. So
So your view is that they're breaking the zoning rules by having so many people in that house, and it diminishing your potential rental value and the property value of the other houses?
Well, that as well as it's really inhibiting my enjoyment of my property because when there's 20 people outside screaming at the top of their lungs every day, and some of them have threatened me, some of them have yelled obscenities at me, others have tried to tell me what I can do on my property. I don't feel safe to go outside and be able to smile and be courteous to all my neighbors without being harassed or bothered to some degree. And, you know, the fact that they sent the kids out that one day with the fire and whatnot, it's just like you're using your children to antagonize the neighbors. I mean, I've got a video. The grandma, Alice, was building the fire pit right next to my shed, teaching her 5-year-old at the time grandson that that's an acceptable way to behave is you build fire pits next to sheds. I mean, this behavior, I don't even know how to understand it because I would never behave that way myself.
Okay, well, I think I got a sense for it. Anything else I should hear from you, Mr. Brown, before I go back to Ms. Mullins?
I think I have probably rambled enough for everybody today, so.
All right, very good. Well, let me give Ms. Mullins a chance. Ms. Mullins, I swore you in previously. Anything in response to Mr. Brown's testimony?
Oh man, boy, where do I start? That was a lot. But
How many kids, Ms. Mullins? Clarify
I
that.
have
How many do you
5
bring?
children. And I am a very present, hands-on mom. So I don't have time to stalk anybody, okay?
How old are these kids?
My youngest is 2 and my oldest is 11.
Okay,
And
pretty
I do
young.
go outside with them. Um, they don't, they haven't really been going outside this year, so I don't understand why he keeps bringing up stuff that has already been resolved. Most of the stuff that he's talked about has been resolved already and has nothing to do with me at all.
Sure.
And I have
Yeah,
never
no, I
talked
get
to
it. I
Seth
think the specific things are these light
disrespectfully.
issues. He said it looked like you have 2 lights, maybe your cell phone light and a
I
flashlight.
don't know.
You're saying if you went
Never.
out
I
to do
don't
the
have a
DoorDash thing,
flashlight
it was just
and
a
a
cell phone light.
phone. Yes.
Okay. What about the
And
flipping off?
no, I never did that. I would not intentionally. My kids are watching me, okay? So, and I like to present myself in a way to where like they have somebody to look up to.
Sure.
So that's out of character. And just there are just so many lies or maybe different perspectives, who knows? But I never came up to Seth and cussed at him at all. Like he claims that was me because my hair is long or wait, no, maybe that was
Well,
the
I
other.
think he said that was how he identified the person walking. I don't
Right,
think
yeah, yeah, I'm sorry.
the cussing out thing
I
was
can't keep
about, I
up.
don't know that he was specific. I can't remember if that was
Yeah,
attributed to you or not. But in any case, it was I generally, it's a two-way conversation between 2 people. Well, people disagree and that happens. And as long as both people
right.
walk away, that's not gonna, unless
Yes.
someone
And
goes over the
Seth
top.
hasn't been threatened, not in my presence anyways, but to my knowledge, that has been handled and has not happened again. Like
What
all
about
of this stuff.
what I'm going to describe as harassment,
I
and there I think the main issue is the potential flashlight beams. It sounds like from his perspective,
he
well,
has
these are pretty bright lights and they are being shined into both, the back and then, my perception is, well, if you get a bunch of flashlights in your back and it happens for a while and then maybe there's a break or the fence goes up and then all of a sudden there's one in front and the kids say, oh, look at there's flashlight coming through the front window, it's happening again, Dad. What's going on there?
I have no clue what he's talking about because I I
It's
have
not you shining
never
flashlights in the window.
no,
You
I would
might have gone
never
out
do
onto
that.
the golf course to do the coyote patrol.
No, that hasn't happened like recently. I don't know what he's talking about.
Just
So
never.
Yeah, well, the
I'm
PPO
just
doesn't have to be
confused.
directly, something that happened yesterday.
No.
It's not uncommon. Although,
We've had so many problems with Seth that we know that any little thing Seth is going to find and call the cops on intentionally, like because he's trying to get my mom to move realistically. That's what
Sure. Well, he said there are too many people living there, in his
um
estimation. So,
because of whatever altercations. So he's doing anything and everything to do that. But everything that he
okay.
stated has nothing to do with me, so I don't understand why it's out on me. If you have a problem with my family, then go take it up with them. But like my kids and I are traumatized from the situation that happened. Um, when he called the cops and they were gonna take me to jail and under.
You mean this most recent time when you drove past?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And
Because you're right, he was thinking maybe, or you were thinking perhaps because of the PPO, you were going to be busted as it were for violating
yeah,
the
that's what the
PPO.
cops had said, that I was violating it and that I could go to jail, and then he said that I was, but he had to talk to somebody first. So, and I forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry.
Take your time.
But
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get to the bottom now. Did you observe your mom, sister, anyone else do the flashlight behavior in the windows when you
no,
were home?
no, they do not. If any flashlights have ever been shined in his window, it's unintentional. But and nobody has ever shined it at his house to do it. Like, we're not thinking about that. Nobody is. We're just trying to live our lives. And Seth just keeps continuing to cause problems.
Okay. Well, and the problems he identified are disputes about the fence, about where the fire pit can go,
Right. Yeah, that was all stuff that had already been taken care of.
has
It didn't
been
have
kind of
anything
worked.
to, yeah,
Okay.
it never
Yeah.
had anything to do with me.
Yeah, right. And it's not your house, so those things, and you're not necessarily
Right.
putting up a fire pit
And
or
I
repairing
do
where the
go
fence is.
on walks with my children when I'm there and I play outside with them. But not intentionally to antagonize Seth. Who does that, really? They're
Yeah,
kids, they
you
scream.
haven't sent them
Like,
outside to make a
no,
bunch of noise because Seth and his
no,
family are
be,
outside.
no, because that's definitely not something that would cross my mind ever.
Okay, well, here's I have heard the testimony today from both sides. On a protective order, what has to happen is I have to find, in order to keep the protective order in place, that two or more incidents occurred that could be threatening or harassing conduct. Now, shining a light in a window certainly without more is not threatening conduct. However, it certainly could be harassing conduct in that, for example, you can't put a spotlight up and shine it in your neighbor's bedroom and,
It's
leave that
fine.
on every night. And if they come to you, you say, well, it's on my property. Why is it
Um,
bothering you? Well, of course it is. It's a form of a trespass when, you're shining light into an area that a person normally would have a degree of privacy in. I don't think that's what's happening here either. It's a little hard for me to tell what is happening exactly with these flashlights. However, there is enough what I'm going to describe as bad blood or contention between these two families. There's certainly it's credible to me that there would have been incidences with the family that you're a part of, Miss Mullins, where they were out, allegedly looking for coyotes. However, I tend to agree that, I can see shining flashlights around, maybe the area your dog's going to run out in to make sure there's not a coyote lurking there. But when you're going out a distance and going out onto a golf course to shine now for coyotes, well, you may want to do that. And if you shine the lights straight into the golf course and everything else, not a problem. But if you're coming back, even if those shine into a neighbor's house, particularly if it's a neighbor, where there's been a history of conflict, certainly that could be construed as harassing behavior. So I'm going to find that since I had two people testify that that was what was happening and it happened repeatedly, that there were two or more incidents of harassment, I'm going to leave the PPO in place. I have already modified it. At least I'm looking at Miss Malaki's. I said that I crossed out the, or no, I think it was on Mr. Running on both of these because of the proximity of the houses. I crossed out appearing within sight because you have to drive past. You've already testified to go to and from your mom's house where she provides childcare. However, Ms. Mullins, I would advise, like the police do, if you're going to continue that childcare arrangement, stick strictly to what you're doing there and that childcare business. And certainly, I'm never going to find you in violation of a PPO if you're outdoors on your mom's property with your kids doing nothing that's targeted or can even be construed at being targeted at the Malecki Brown household. However, I often tell people when you've got one of these against you and you're the respondent, and you've already pointed this out, Ms. Mullins, and the police are quick to point this out too, if the police do decide you're engaging in conduct that violates the protective order, then they do take you in and they put you in jail, and I can put you into jail for up to 93 days. And so what I tell people is it's not even worth going up to the line in a case like this and putting yourself at risk for that penalty, especially when you got a family, kids, and other things in your life to worry about. Just live your own life. Most people can without creating conflict. PPOs are not, I grant these typically for 6 months. So I would expect I signed these for a 6-month period. And, my goal in doing that is to allow the situation to cool down and return to,
I thought I had already done that.
a peaceful living situation. No, and it sounds like it has. And if it sustains now for another, I'm looking here for the date that this thing expires. If it continues, well, I can tell you what happens at that date of, so this is in place until January 17th of 2026. After that, then if Mr. Malek or Miss Malecki, Mr. Brown think the basis there have been more violations, they can ask to continue it. Otherwise, it just expires as of its own terms on that date, and it's not in place any longer. Now, does that mean on the 18th you should go over there and say, your thing ran out? Of course you shouldn't, because then what they'll do is they'll come back to me and they'll say,
Never.
you had the
I
prior
have no
one.
intentions.
Yeah, no, and the prior one can count as one of the violations, and I can consider that in granting a future one. So don't do that. I think things can return, at least with regard to you, Ms. Mullins. And I often tell people, should you trick or treat at their house? Definitely not. Let's use common sense here and not do anything that could be construed as an intentional violation of the order. Everyone stays out of jail. It does sound like, from what I've heard on both sides here, that Mr. Brown is upset about some things that are going at your house. But to his credit, Mr. Brown seems to be going through official channels. If he makes a report, for example, to the zoning administrator, well, you don't like that, and no one likes that, and people have to move their fire pits and driveways and air conditioning units and stuff like that all the time when that happens. But it's still going through official channels. It's not the same as coming over with a sledgehammer and cracking up your fire pit or whatever. And that's what the laws intended to encourage, is everyone to act within the parameters of the law. We can't say be friends with each other, be great neighbors, enjoy barbecues together. That's probably never going to happen, but we can say, don't take things into your own hands. Do what you can to maintain the peace in the neighborhood. And I don't know, if you all read the news, there was a horrible case in Ottawa County where a guy and his, these two people were both in their late 60s. And they'd had a fight forever about who pushed snow into the other person's driveway when they were shoveling. And one day the guy got fed up with it. He got his pistol and he shot his neighbor, slid her down the back of the hill in a sled, and got arrested, went down for first-degree murder, premeditated murder, mandatory life in prison without parole. Was so ticked off, he never apologized or anything else. And of course, the other lady's dead. And, when you think about your extended family and the other people that are involved in your life, however bad things get with your neighbors, nothing is worth escalating to an extreme level. Nothing's even worth spending, in my opinion, a day in jail for. Most people can keep the peace, respect each other's property lines and rights, and not push the limits. That's what I'm asking to do here. And if that works through January, then it may be that Mr. Brown and Ms. Malecki don't feel the need to renew it, at least with regard to you. And of course, like I say, I'm not holding you responsible, Ms. Mullins, for anything that you're. I might hold you responsible for your kids if you tell them to do something, but I'm not going to have any imagination that you control your mom or your brother or anyone else in this situation. They got to make their own decisions, but I'm confident you can make the right ones. You've conducted yourself very politely and clearly during the hearing here. I think you can make the right decisions and not get pulled into a fight that, as you've pointed out many times, is probably not your fight in the first place, other than it involves your family. So I think we can keep the peace here, and I'll leave the protective orders in place for the meantime.
Okay. I have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
So does this mean my children, we like to take walks. So am I not allowed to walk that way? It's a dead end that way. So and there's not a lot of like other places to walk. We could go to the other side, but that's like the other side is the stop sign. So then
if you're on the far side of the road from where they
on the
live,
opposite side.
yeah. And obviously, if you're on the far side of the road and your kids are hooting and hollering and holding up signs that say "screw you, Seth," that's one thing. But I don't expect that's
I
what's
would not allow that behavior.
right now. And kids are sometimes noisy, but if it's again. Every time I say something like this, it begs me in the rear because something unexpected happens. But, during normal waking hours and you're going to be outside with the kids while the weather's good, I have never faulted a parent for that. Now, all those other scenarios that can possibly arise, you train your 11-year-old to shoot a bow and arrow and they shoot it into the other people's yard or whatever, then I have a problem with it. But you don't seem like the kind of person that's going to do that. So.
No. Okay. All right. Thank you. I just want to make sure that was clarified.
Very good. Thank you all for your participation, your honesty during the hearing. Like I say, I wish the neighborly situation was better, but I don't think, like I say, you're going to be friends with each other. But I do commend the fact that everyone shows up for a hearing like this and testifies and behaves politely in a court hearing, gives me really good hope that however it works out, it can be worked out within the bounds of the law. And that's my job, is to make sure people follow the law and don't take things into their own hands. So wishing you all a safe Labor Day weekend.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How do I